Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy April. Hello, all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I would love if you could drop where you're calling in from in the chat today so we can say hello. It's so good to see you all today and to get to start April with you. I would also love to know what you're doing for Earth Day this month. Oh boy, the hellos are coming in fast. Hi from Lisbon, from Chicago, from Philly, from NYC. Welcome to our wonderful community. Greetings from the Bay, from Richmond, Miami, Minneapolis. Hello from India. Thank you for being up late with us. Hi from Rotterdam, British Columbia. Oh, we're so excited to hear you have clothing swaps planned for Earth Day. What a perfect way to celebrate Earth Day. Hi from Rome, from Newcastle, UK. It's so wonderful to have our global community here today. I am going to go ahead and enable closed captions on my screen, and I'm also dropping in the chat instructions for how you can show the closed captions on your screen as well. Here are those instructions if you need to turn on the closed caption on your end. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. If you're just joining us, please say hello in the chat and let us know where you're dialing in from. I've activated closed captions for this call, and if you need instructions for how to put closed captions on your screen, we've dropped those in the chat for you. We're really excited to get to start our April with you. It's always the best way to start our month with our Remake community. This month, our community call is dedicated to remembering the memory of the at least 1,132 people who lost their lives during the Rana Plaza garment factory collapse in Bangladesh in 2013. We're also here to discuss how, following this cataclysmic moment, resilient workers in Bangladesh united over the last decade to win worker safety. And also in that moment, Remake began with a goal to unite like-minded people like all of you all around the world and to come together to link arms and amplify the need for systemic change within the garment industry. And on today's call, you're going to hear about some of those systemic level changes from our panelists today. As we're getting started, again, I would love if you could share where you're dialing in from and what you're doing to celebrate Earth Day. I'll go ahead and welcome our panelists to the screen as well. Welcome, Khalid. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
It's so good
Hello,
to
everybody.
see you.
Sorry, I'm having my dinner as well.
Thank you for
I turned
taking
off my
time
camera.
out of your dinner to join us. It's late for some of our
Thank you.
community members.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this discussion. I'm happy to be here.
We're so pleased to have you. And welcome Zulfiqar as well. Hello, good to see you.
Thank you very much. And unlike Khalid, I just finished my iftar, so I'm free from dinner and iftar. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much for inviting me as well.
We're so delighted to have you both. Both Khalid and Zulfiqar have been long fighting for worker rights in Pakistan, and you're going to get to hear more about their stories today. I'm dropping their bios in the chat for you. Khalid is the director of the Labor Education Fund, whose work is building a democratic labor movement in Pakistan. And Zulfiqar is also the country manager for the Pakistan Accord. We're going to be talking about the international accord here today, and you'll get to hear more directly about how that work is impacting Pakistan. So please give a warm Remake welcome to our panelists today. Today, we're here to discuss the International Accord, which many of you may know is a legally binding agreement between garment and textile brands and great global trade unions to make the textile and garment factories more safe. You can read more about the importance of the international accord in Remake's recently published Fashion Accountability Report. My colleague Alexa is dropping that link in the chat for you now. To date, 2.3 million workers across 1,619 factories in Bangladesh are protected by the provisions of the accord. Since 2014, the accord has conducted around 56,000 inspections across factories in Bangladesh. The resolution has been over 140,000 safety hazards at these factories and has led to widespread improvements within the Bangladeshi garment industry. And now, building off the proven track record of the accord in Bangladesh, the program was introduced to Pakistan in 2023. We're excited to hear more about what the impact of the accord has been in Pakistan. And Zulfiqar is joining us today as the country manager of the Pakistan Accord. Can you tell us a little bit more about why the accord was expanded to Pakistan?
As you mentioned in our intro, obviously I'm working as a country manager with the Pakistan Accord, but Khalid and me been on the forefront of fighting for the rights of workers. So to me, the Accord should have been extended to Pakistan even a decade ago. So even before Rana Plaza, that happened in April 2013, and even before Tazeen factory fire that took place in November 2012, there was a factory fire in Karachi in September 2012, and that's known as Pakistan's 9/11, which killed 250 workers and known as the Ali Enterprises. So to me, the card is coming to Pakistan very late. Because if we look at the at the Ali Enterprises, it actually reflected two aspects. One was obviously the huge risk that workers faced at the factories, and the poor working conditions, particularly from the perspective of health and safety. But the other thing was that this incident exposed the poor quality of audits that were done by the third parties, because that factory was audited 2 weeks before this incident took place, and that had lockable doors. So that was the situation. But in any way, that took a long time for Pakistan to expand, Dhaka to expand to Pakistan. And as you all are aware that in 2019, the Bangladesh Accord was handed over to a national arrangement in Dhaka, which is known as RSC. But there were negotiations for an international accord that was agreed for 2 years from 2021 to 2023. And there was one of the preconditions as part of this international accord agreement, that was that the accord would be expanded to another country other than Bangladesh, at least one country. So in 2022, there was a feasibility report of 4 countries that included India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Morocco. And at the end of this feasibility report in December 2022, the steering committee of the International Accord agreed on a new program in Pakistan. And at the end of the month, unions and brands agreed to sign an accord, which is known now as a Pakistan Accord. So I would say in a nutshell, obviously there was one reason was the risk factor that was there in Pakistan as well. If we look at this whole situation, because it was not only Ali Enterprises, but organizations like Clean Cloth Campaign has documented over 100 deaths that took place as in the following years of Ali Enterprises. These were the smaller incidents, but obviously very serious in nature. And the second, I think, reason was the interest of the brands, because there is a sizable number of the brands which were sourcing from Pakistan, but they have a little presence in Pakistan due to security reasons or other reasons, and they were relying on these third-party audits. So there was quite good interest of brands to extend a card to Pakistan. And third, during the feasibility report, it became very obvious that there is quite a good interest from various stakeholders that includes workers, brands, government, and employers as well. And I think the fourth reason was that if we compare to other countries, so that was part of the feasibility. Morocco, comparatively a very small country, Sri Lanka is a smart country, but at the same time also it was undergoing through a lot of the trouble, and India being a very big country. So I think Pakistan was a sizable program. That's why the program has been introduced in Pakistan and currently being implemented.
Thank you. And as you say, Ali Enterprise disaster is exactly an example of why the Accord needed to expand into Pakistan, and as well, why our Remake community has mobilized to ensure that the Accord will continue to expand to protect more workers, as these were preventable tragedies, and no one should have died in these circumstances. Khalid, thank you so much again for joining us. Your life's work has been dedicated to building a democratic labor movement in Pakistan. And as we've said, in 2012, the horrific Ali Enterprise fire killed over 250 garment workers. Why are programs like the Accord so important to protect workers?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say that why do we need incidents like Ali Enterprises or Rana Plaza to bring in the legally binding agreements between the brands and the workers, or the workers' representatives? Why do we need these disasters? Why the brands are not able to understand that it's their responsibility, primarily their responsibility, to provide a safe working place for the workers, not only the safe working place for the workers, but also to protect all basic labor rights, which are covered under the ILO conventions, which are protected under the Constitution of Pakistan or Bangladesh or India, wherever they are producing, and which are guaranteed under the labor laws of Pakistan. It's the responsibility of the brands, it's the responsibility of the suppliers, it's the responsibility of the government of Pakistan, and it's the responsibility of the governments in the origin countries of the brands as well. So I think it's a shared responsibility. And for us, when we are part of this global world, and business is global, the rights are also global. So I think the as protected the workers in USA or in any developed country in Europe are, workers should be protected in countries like Pakistan or all other producing countries. So this has been a long struggle for us. And why this is important for Pakistan? Because there is an elite, the ruling elite in Pakistan or in Bangladesh are very much, I would say, controlled by the capitalists, by the employers, or they are supported by the employers. Employers are the most organized bodies in Pakistan. Where are the workers' organizations here? Only 1% of the workers in Pakistan are organized in trade unions, and all the employers, whatever their size is, they are very well organized and they are very much influential on the policies of the governments. So when the workers are not allowed to organize and speak for their rights, so in this situation, when the government policies are controlled by the employers, their associations, then I think it's important for us to ask for such legally binding agreements where we can hold responsible the entities which are earning the maximum of the profits from these factories. So that's why I think that's the basic idea. I mean, the basic idea is not that if some incident happens and then we go for protection of the workers. The basic idea is the maximum, the profit, the maximum, the responsibility. So I think that's why we are united in this struggle, not only within Pakistan, but also at South Asia level, at the global level, and thanks to Remake, organizations like Remake, Clean Clothes Campaign, Workers' Rights Consortium, all other international organizations which have supported to build our capacity in Pakistan to help us to come up with this demand for the accord, and we have gone through the feasibility study of the accord, and that's how we have got the accord for Pakistan.
Thank you. And as you say, this should not happen out of the result of a disaster. It should happen because of people in power should share responsibility for protecting the workers. One of our community members in the chat said, thank you for saying that this is a shared responsibility. It's so important that we hold brands accountable to legally binding agreements. So since introduction into Pakistan, today nearly 540,000 workers across 484 factories in Pakistan are covered by the Accord's protections. Zulfiqar, can you tell us more about what the Accord has accomplished in Pakistan, what the Accord does in Pakistan, and what its impact is? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. Maybe you need to turn up volume. No, it was good before, but now.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So as I mentioned, that the card was agreement was signed in December 2022 for 3 years. That means starting from January 2023 till December 2025. And as a process, we started from January onwards last year. That was first half of the year was spent in kind of a preparations, but also onboarding of the brands. And as you mentioned, these statistics like number of factories and workers covered, I think onboarding process of the brands, rather I would say the response from brands have been really encouraging, because as of now we have 118 brands which have signed Pakistan Accord. This list of 450 factory, 500 factories are number of 500,000 workers are based around the number of the brands, which was earlier like around 66 or 70 brands. So I think this number will actually increase once we have uploaded the list of the brands which have signed the card lately. So the number of the factories would increase to 700, and similarly the number of the brands would increase. But the first half of the year was spent on preparations. So we were only able in October last year to start the first batch of the inspections in Pakistan. And by now we have conducted inspections at 40 factories, including those which were inspected as part of the pilot. This means that we have already started sending, but we will be sending 120 reports because we've been conducting inspections under the 3 disciplines. So that's fire and safety, electrical, and structural. Boiler will also be started soon, but we have already these 120 reports that are going to be sent to factories. Some of these reports have already gone to the factories, and that's first time in Pakistan that such a number of independent inspections have taken place. That has never happened in the history of the garment industry, where you have international qualified engineers coming up on the factory side along with these equipments and conducting independent inspections. So that's what we have accomplished. But these inspections, which took place in 3 benches in October last year, November, December, and recently in Feb and March. So that was conducted by the international engineers, but now we are building our own team in Pakistan. We have hired local engineers which are undergoing the training program currently, and once this training program is completed, they will be conducting inspection. So we will be scaling up the program to reaching out the maximum factories. Obviously, we have this deadline to complete the program technically, though we see that program need to be expanded because you can't complete the entire program within 3 years. But so far, we have agreed program that will be ending in December 2025. So we have to reach out all these 500 factories or 700 factories when the number is increasing. So I would really see that it been lot of the kind of discussions around that, and we have not only started conducting, but there was a huge exercise even before starting the inspections. So that includes developing a standard for the Pakistan Accord against which these factories are being inspected. So that involved a lot of the stakeholder engagement from various sectors in Pakistan, and also a lot of the other activities that are part of kind of the exercise that you need to have for a safety program in Pakistan. And soon from June onwards, we are also planning to start earlier, but to be safe, I can say that from June onwards, we would have established complaint mechanism program as well as the training program, which are two other programs in addition to the inspection program in Pakistan. So that's where we stand, and we really look forward to scale up this program.
It's wonderful to hear that even in early days of this program, it has already been so transformative, and these inspections are getting underway, which will make such a difference to our community as we gear up to encourage even more brands to sign on to the international accord and to expand into Pakistan. It's so powerful to hear directly about why this work matters, how this campaigning is really life-changing and impacting workers already, and that we can expand those protections to even more. As you mentioned, in addition to addressing physical safety concerns in the buildings, the Accord also provides opportunities for workers to share concerns and grievances and express agency. Khalid, can you talk a little bit more about why it's impactful and important for workers to be able to do this?
Yeah, I think in absence of the labor inspections happening from the government, this is very important because the Accord has this inbuilt mechanism of complaint mechanism, not only the inspection, but complaint mechanism and then trainings as well. So capacity building is also, I think this work will also start soon, and the complaint mechanism work is also going on. We have a Accord working group in Pakistan. I mean, these are the people from different trade unions or organizations who have initially come together to create this demand for the Accord for Pakistan. And we have worked hard in this process. So we are working as an independent group to monitor the progress of the Accord as well. And we are very closely working together with Zulfiqar and Joris and all other Accord people here. In the factories, the real situation is that the workers do not have any voice. So I think because they do not have trade unions in the factories, and they do not have confidence of there is like no space given to them to even talk about some very dangerous working conditions as well. So I think it's important that Accord has this free complaint mechanism, and alongside with that, the confidence is given to the workers in the factories through the floor meetings, through all workers meetings. The capacity is built within the factories so that the workers can feel free to launch complaints within the Accord system. And I think one of the important aspects within Accord is the formation of the safety committees. So that is very much linked to the confidence building. The safety committee representation, I mean, the workers' representation in the safety committees is very important. And we believe that it should be a very democratic process. Under our labor laws as well in Pakistan, the safety committees are mandatory, and the workers' representation in the safety committees is through elections. So I think this kind of process will build the capacity among the workers on the ground level, so that they are free to choose their representatives to the safety committees, and then they can work for uh, launching the complaints and having a negotiation within the factory with the management through their safety committees, and also to they can have discussion with the accord to actually raise their concerns, and as a safety committee they can work together with the accord and the management to solve the issues. So these aspects are, I think, prominent aspects and very important. And I believe that these will go a long way in developing the industry, safe industry, and generating more employment, safe employment, and secured employment for the workers where their rights are protected.
Thank you. Can you tell us more, Khalid, what types of concerns you have found in Pakistan already, some of the stories from the factories?
Uh, there are many concerns. I mean, there are different kind of factories. First of all, the big factories, and one group may have one very big factory, it's very well established factory, and the other one a medium-sized factory or even small factory. So and they are producing in all these factories together to make the final product. So I think the major concerns are fire. We still hear a lot of incidents of fire. The big factories do have better building infrastructure, but we have seen in last few years that the roof collapses are also happening. The good thing about Pakistan Accord is that it covers the supply chain as well. It covers the ginning mills. It covers the cotton mills as well. So the condition in the mills is not as good as in the big garment factories. So that will help us. Uh, I hope with the improvement in the or with the expansion of the inspections, the infrastructure problems of the mills will also come up in the inspections, and they will also be resolved with the time. The other is the workers do not have trainings, and the fire exits are not working properly. There are a lot of storage being kept in front of the fire exits, and the workers do not have any voice there to say anything. Then there are. It's not only about the safety; it's about health as well. The accord is about health as well. So there are no medical tests happening of the workers. And in the garment industry, in the textile industry, a lot of lung diseases are occurring due to the environment. So I think it's important that the work should be done on the health as well of the workers. And also, I think the kind of pressure that the workers are feeling in the industry, the mental health is also an issue. The harassment is an issue at the workplace, and harassment is not only the sexual harassment, but it's the harassment of the same gender as well, because of the target pressures, because the supervisors, the managers are using abusive language for the workers. They are not allowed to have leave easily because they have to meet the targets. Yesterday we had now this is confidential, but I can tell you that we had a meeting with a big brand, off-site meeting with a big US brand, and the workers told them stories that what is happening in the factories. I mean, they are feeling like they are kind of working in some kind of very under very ruthless kind of management, and issues of wages, issues of working hours, issues of safety, all issues were raised. So I mean, these are the stories that we are hearing from the ground.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so important, like you said, that all of these issues are interconnected. It's not just physical safety, but it's also health and mental health and the pressures that workers are put under at the workplace. And these kinds of protections can address these issues. For our community, I'm going to open it up to question and answer. I've seen some questions coming in the chat. Please feel free to drop your questions for our wonderful panelists, and I will ask them. If you want to get involved in our campaigning efforts around the importance of the International Accord, please watch the Remake Ambassador Slack to see our latest social media kit and follow our campaigns page in the month ahead. If you're not yet a Remake Ambassador, I'm dropping information in the chat about how to get involved in this campaigning. Opening it up to Q&A. Aisha, I would first love to hear a little bit from you. This matters to you very much personally and is one of the reasons why you founded Remake to galvanize the community for these worker protections. Can you share a little bit about why it's important to you to activate the community in this way?
Yeah, absolutely. And first, I wanted to just start by thanking Zulfiqar and Khalid. You know, it's Ramzan. They've been fasting all day, and then right after iftar, taking the time to speak to our global community. So thank you so much. You know, I will say that I used to be with the ILO before I founded Remake at the time when Rana Plaza fell down. And as you heard from Khalid and Zulfiqar, there had been a series of building and fire safety concerns. You know, Ali Enterprise in Pakistan, we had the Tazreen factory fire, we had Rana Plaza, and time again, you know, the companies, the first line of defense often is, these are not our workers, right? These are contracted workers, or we are no longer in the factory. And really, I'd say it became very personal for me sitting across from companies to say, you know, enough is enough. Like, when can we actually say that people literally shouldn't die for our cheap clothes to get to us? And moreover, you know, the endemic nature of the sort of physical sexual harassment, being Pakistani, being from Karachi. And I will say, you know, Remake was founded a decade ago exactly for these conversations that we're having. And I'm just so proud of our community and how we've galvanized, right? Taken to the streets, taken to social media to get more companies signed up. The early days of the Bangladesh Accord, it was really difficult to get companies to sign up. There was a lot of fear that, you know, this is somehow going to hurt business. But we have a decade under our belt to say this works. And in fact, the export value in Bangladesh went up. And in fact, nothing terrible happened to companies, but instead, while the industry has done well in Bangladesh, workers now have a voice, and buildings are safer, and incidents of disaster have gone down. And so, as a Pakistani sitting across from two Pakistanis in our wonderful international community, it just makes this so personal for me to say, look, we've got 117 brands signed up, but there are many more that are operating in Pakistan, and we need to make the case, because the people in my part of the world, the women who make our clothes, we need to make sure that when she walks in, she feels that this is a safe job, and a safe job of dignity. And so I hope we walk away. We're talking about a lot of technical things, but at the end of the day, really emotionally, to say the clothes on my back, what do they represent? And that they really should represent safe jobs at a very minimum.
Thank you so much for sharing. We have some questions coming in the chat. Some of the first questions are about what are the things that brands need to hear to encourage them to sign on to the Accord? What are their biggest concerns, and what motivates them to sign on? And I'll open that to anyone who would like to jump in.
I think, Zulfiqar, it might be helpful to hear from you, you know, starting in terms of knowing that there has been 117 brands that did sign up. You know, what are the ways to encourage brands? Because we do have a lot of behind the scenes conversations. And then, of course, from a campaigning standpoint, what do you think would stick?
Well, to be very honest, as I think the organizations like Remake and obviously Clean Cloth Campaign, or even the global unions, which are even formal part of the accord, they deserve really a lot of the appreciation for making it to happen. Because what we see, as you mentioned, that it might have been a big challenge while pursuing the branch to sign the Bangladesh Accord, and even while we launched the Pakistan Accord. To be very honest, if you ask me personally, or even I think there was a consensus among the secretariat team. We were really not kind of, expecting that such a number of the brands would sign a card. So I think in case of the Pakistan, the brands response have been very encouraging, which we must appreciate. That we were like, maybe expecting like 100 brands to sign in during this by this period, but it's already been 117, and some of these big brands, particularly US brands, for example, Adidas and the Gap, they have recently signed. So that's very encouraging. However, as you mentioned, there are a lot of the other brands which are sourcing from Pakistan, but they have not signed for Pakistan Accord. So I think a couple of the points are very clear and very important. One is that these brands have very little presence in Pakistan, unlike Bangladesh, unlike other countries, and for the security reasons, they don't travel to Pakistan. So they are completely relying on their sourcing agents or their third-party auditors, which is really not, so they may not be getting the true picture. So it's quite important for them to sign in a Pakistan Accord, which is now a full program being implemented with a greater oversight that includes also the brands representatives in the steering committee. So that's quite important. And I think the second point is that the risk factor that remains over there in countries like Pakistan. So that's quite important that the brands recognize that. And as Khalid also mentioned, that's really not necessarily that you react in a situation where something happens. You need to be proactive and preventive. So that's the second point. And I think the third and the most important point is also or that if you look at kind of from from a business perspective, that brands which even are now diverting, they have several issues, challenges. If you look at the situation in China and Myanmar and other many countries, and you mentioned Bangladesh, which I think for the business wise has been a secured country. So I think Pakistan being the fifth largest producer of cotton with the ninth largest labor force in the world, I think this really provides a lot of the good business opportunities to the brands if they invest in making the kind of workplaces safer. And also I think given this whole kind of new set of the legislation that's taking place in Europe, including the German Due Diligence Supply Chain Act, but now the CSDDD at the European level, I think it's in the interest of the brands as well that they sign up initiatives like Accord, which come up and provides you, at least for the OSH purpose, which OSH we also see in a broader context, that that takes into account this whole program of the inspections, complaint mechanism, trainings. So I think there is really a lot for brands to sign Pakistan Accord, and that creates really a win-win situation both for workers, for brands, as well as the campaigning organization, which really want to see safer workplaces with credible inspections and the certifications.
Thank you. Khalid, it looks like you wanted to jump in on some of the things you hear when trying to encourage brands to sign on.
I think Zulfiqar has explained this very well. I mean, Pakistan has a trained labor force. Pakistan is a cotton producing country. Pakistan has best quality of the products. I mean, if you look at the business model for Pakistan suits the brand. The problem is the brands are always looking for the lowest labor costs or overall lowest costs to maximize their profits. I think it's the brands need to understand that it's a world now where the workers with their smartphones can also see what's happening around the world. If not all, some of the workers do get this kind of awareness. And imagine if Pakistan had a very democratic government, if Pakistan had a people's government, if Pakistan had a regime, labor regime, which could have ensured the labor rights in Pakistan, uh, and Pakistan had an infrastructure where the brands could be attracted, then what rates could the brands have offered to suppliers here? Definitely, the rates would have been higher from these rates, and brands would have definitely produced in Pakistan even then on the higher rates. Brands do have this option of looking at their the rates that they're offering to the suppliers. I think it's important for brands to also understand that the business cannot be done in isolation. They have to encourage workers' participation. They have to encourage, and they have to build the capacity of the suppliers here as well. I think wherever needed, and they have to work together with the people who are producing for them. We in Pakistan as labor organizations and trade unions are always willing to work together and negotiate. We want more business for Pakistan. We want more jobs for workers in Pakistan, but we want safe jobs. We want all the rights of the workers protected, and we want Pakistani workers to compete with others. Why not? But we do not want to compete in lowering the rates. We do not want to compete in lowering the standards of the lives. Pakistan is the worst country at the moment facing climate changes. Why we are facing these climate changes? Why the workers are suffering here? More than 60% cotton crop were destroyed 2 years back with the rains. Pakistan is suffering because of the 100 years of industrialization. And these same people are responsible for destroying the climate. And now these same people are actually producing again from countries like Pakistan, and the climate is again being destroyed here. And the workers are suffering, continue to suffer. So I think it's, I read one of the questions here about the consumers' awareness as well. I think it's very important that the consumers do get this awareness, that it's a shared responsibility, and the brands are put under this pressure in the developed world, and we are always willing to work together. We are very democratic people, and we are not terrorists. I can tell you, they can send their people here. Pakistan is a safe country. We travel here in all the areas all the time. There are a lot of foreigners also working here, and they will be very secure here. They should have more people here to look at the situation themselves.
And they should all sit down with Khalid and he will tell them why they should sign on to the accord.
Sure. And yeah, I was there in front of a big store in New York, and employers in Pakistan was looking for who is this person who is asking for that brand to sign.
Yes, you were with us in front of the Levi's store in Times Square,
Levi's.
weren't you? Yes.
I didn't want to take them, but yeah, if that's fine. That was public. That was public gathering, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
and our community is saying in the chat, this is a shared responsibility. Absolutely. So, Zulfiqar, a question for
Yeah.
you. Can you talk about, so we've talked about how the accord is legally binding. Can you share more about how it is enforced? Inspections have begun, but how are these things enforced when problems are found?
To be very honest, in countries like Pakistan, as I mentioned, traditionally or otherwise, it should have been a responsibility of the governments, which have the authority and the regulatory framework to kind of have inspections and then that then enforce the improvement. However, in countries like Pakistan, there is a lack of capacity at the official level, but also kind of poor quality and lack of equipment, everything. And also the political and otherwise compromises and this whole imbalance between these two parties. So in this case, I think the credit goes to the brands. I would say that those who are signatory to a card, and they have been very supportive, because this is, unless you have a business case, because we have very weak regulatory framework. So we are operating a kind of private entity. We are not a replacement of government inspections or any other inspections which are. So as on one hand, obviously we have signatory unions, but on the other hand, when we enter to the factory and the whole communication, whole our entry to sites, the factories, that's why I was saying that this is first time in Pakistan that such a thing has happened, because these factories are even no-go areas for local inspectors. Hardly anybody goes and inspects. There are several stories which I really don't want to go into the details, but for us, for a card, it's brands. So once these reports, as I say, that we have just started a program and we are in process of sending these reports, but at the same time we are also developing the camp templates and everything. So once these reports are sent, we will be working together with factories to implement the corrective action program, which is actually the main program that need to be implemented to make real improvements. And we can see a lot of the collaboration is needed from the brands, which have to also make this financially feasible, because one of the major concern which is being expressed by the factories is that this improvement would require a lot of the investment, because they have never done such investments which are required. And as you know that the card requires very highest standards of even equipments which need to be listed equipments, but also kind of other infrastructure related. So enforcement is, to be very honest, with the support of the brands, because that's how things will happen. Both their contribution in terms of continuing business with factories, but at the same time also helping the card to implement this program. But I would really also give the credit that obviously we had a challenge at the initial level, which at one point the local suppliers were a little bit kind of I would say not the suppliers individually, but some of their associations were a little bit reluctant to cooperate. But now we really are getting a lot of the cooperation from individual suppliers which are sourcing. They are willing to kind of open up their doors and cooperate. So maybe I think it will take us a few more months to come up with a more clear picture that how actually the corrective action plans are being implemented, and we will be publishing all these reports as well as the corrective action plans publicly. And that will also happen first time in Pakistan, that these reports would be publicly available to all of you and all of the interested stakeholders.
Thank you so much. A big Remake thank you to our panelists who have shared so many insights with us today. We are so grateful. Remakers, just a reminder, if you want to get involved in our campaigning and encourage more to sign on to the International Accord, please watch the Ambassador Slack for our social media kit and our campaign updates. Aisha, I'll turn it to you for last words before we close our panel.
Well, just again, heartfelt thanks to Zulfiqar and Khalid and to all of you. Keep the questions coming. We'll engage with you on Slack. As I noted, when the accord expanded to Pakistan, this community mobilized. You mobilized, from our community in India, in Bangladesh, to our protest outside New York, and a lot of brands did sign on, right? I want us to remember some of the big victories. You all on calls prior heard from ASOS, who said they're going to directly start to source in Pakistan because of the accord. Some big wins over the last year have included Gap, who had historically not signed on in Bangladesh, but have signed on in Pakistan, as well as Boohoo. And so some of the brands that we are targeting, as you heard from Zulfiqar, it's important to ensure that they are significant from a sourcing standpoint, which is why we're really turning our eyes to Amazon and IKEA and Levi's, because these are brands that benefit a lot from Pakistan as a sourcing base. And so it's important that workers have a voice in the system. So as Emily said, we'll have the toolkit and all of that for you all. And I'm really looking forward this April. It's Earth Month. There are so many reasons, remembering Rana Plaza's anniversary, for us to double our focus to get more brands to sign on. So thank you all, and back to you, Emily.
Thank you all. One last round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to our colleague, Allison, who's here to share with you more about what is upcoming in the month ahead.
Hi, everybody. Happy April. I hope everyone can see my screen okay. Thank you guys for joining us. We have so much going on this April, like Aisha said, with Remembering Rana Plaza and with Earth Month. But before I get into all the events, let's give some snaps and some claps to our ambassador superstars of the month. First, we have Anna, who's on the call today. Hi, Anna. Anna is truly a ray of sunshine in our ambassador community. You might have met her if you're on the East Coast. She's always attending and supporting remakes and fellow ambassador events. And she also recently founded the Career and Connect channel on Slack, which if you're a part of our ambassador community, you're in our Slack, it's open to all. And it's where we post new job opportunities, if ambassadors have job opportunities. And she has also been a huge supporter in pushing the Fabric Act forward by gathering endorsements in Massachusetts. So thank you, Anna, for everything that you do. Next, we have Sophia, Marie, and Amy. They are both of our community organizers in the Bay Area. And they're both endlessly hosting just fabulous events in the Bay. They engage with the Bay Area community, with the youth through meetups, and they go speak at schools. And they're both also Remake Gems, meaning that they donate to Remake every month. So they support Remake's work both on the ground and behind the scenes. Cassandra Pintro is one of Remake's newest fellows, and she is hosting an amazing event in NYC next month, which I'll talk a little bit more on the next slide. But she is hosting an event with a group called Cadre to bring awareness to Remake's missions and fundraising through our movement. And then next, Miriam and Emily are both community organizers in the Philadelphia area, and they have recently been calling on their senators to endorse the Fabric Act. Plus, they have many events coming up in April and May. So if you're in Philly, stay tuned. And now I'll hop on over to our events for the month. So we have 3 Remake events, 2 virtual, 1 in person. This Friday on the 5th, we will be doing an Ask Aisha Anything 40-minute virtual event. So it's going to be a Q&A with Aisha. Aisha is a wealth of information, so please come prepared with questions, whether that's questions about Remake, about Aisha's story, or her experience in the industry. Then next week on the 10th, like I said, Remake's fellow Cassandra is one of our Remake superstars, and she's hosting this event at the Central in New York alongside Cadre, which is a shop curating sustainable fashion pieces from sustainable makers. It'll be a great chance to network with some like-minded people in the city, and there will also be a panel on greenwashing that Remake's own Alexa will be speaking on. Tickets are limited for this event, and 100% of ticket proceeds plus 5% of the shopping at the event will be donated to Remake. And then finally, on April 11th, we will be hosting another Ambassador Social. It's a virtual program and it's open to all ambassadors, but it's really great if you're looking for more ways to connect with like-minded people in the community from all around the globe. And like I said, we have a ton of events going on this month, so you can find them all in the Ambassador Hub, which I will drop the link in the Slack as soon as I turn it over to Katrina. But there's so much going on, from Earth Day events to film screenings to ambassador meetups in person. And if you're new to our Ambassador program, the Ambassador Hub is where we put everything from events. We have a directory so you could look up other ambassadors to job opportunities. So if you have any questions, please email ambassador@remake.world. And now I will hand it on over to Katrina to share some exciting news.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katrina. I had Remake's marketing. In case you missed it last week, we have some big news that we can finally announce our collaborative efforts in this new documentary. And we hope to really educate and empower the next generation of activists on the damage of big fashion alongside the all too familiar story of Brandy Melville. Brandy Hellville and the Cult of Fast Fashion is an HBO original documentary that uncovers the toxic origins and culture of the teen brand and the global ramifications of mass-produced clothing. That's premiering April 9th on HBO, so definitely mark your calendars. And also shout out to our friends and partners who are also going to be featured alongside Remake in the documentary, the OR Foundation, Textile Exchange, and journalist Alyssa Hardy. Congrats on their work alongside us in the documentary. And just a friendly reminder, mark your calendars, April 9th. You can start streaming the doc on HBO, and we want to know what you think. So shoot us a message on Slack, email, you know where to find us. And I will turn it to Allison, who's going to play the trailer.
There's no sound.
Can everybody hear the sound okay, or is there no sound on it? No? Okay, let me see if I could fix that real quick. Sorry, everybody.
I know everyone's excited in the chat to have a watch party. Please, and let us know what you think. Come chat over on the Slack and let us know your first reactions.
For some reason, it will not let me share the sound on here. So I will drop the link to the post in the chat, and you guys can watch it on Instagram on your own if that's okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We're so excited to watch the documentary finally. I know where I will be on April 9th, and that is watching this wonderful documentary. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. I know we all learned a lot from our wonderful panelists, and the conversation is going to continue to go on throughout April, throughout Earth Month, as we rally around getting more brands to sign on to the International Accord. As we close this out today, I'll turn it to Aisha for final words.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Allison, we can stop screen share. As Emily noted, we have so much going on for Earth Month with, I call it a whole month. You know, we get a day, I think we need a month. With this documentary about to drop, for us starting to gear for the Accord expansion into Pakistan. The one thing I'll note, the big news from last month was our accountability report, which was dropped last month. You all will remember last year, this report was downloaded over 50,000 times. I'm excited to note that our engagement with brands has really jumped threefold on the human rights and environmental scores this go around. We've just dropped that report after meeting over 20 brands, and we already have over 30 press hits. As a reminder, this is a watchdog product. We take no money from the fashion industry. And it is, you know, for the accountability conversations we were having around the Accord, you can see which brands have signed on, which haven't, who are sort of signing on to binding agreements, making progress on living wages and on their climate goals. You know, I'll close out by just saying that the support of this global community means so much. As an organization that takes no money from the fashion industry, we rely on all of you within this community. There are 44 Give Monthly donors who we lovingly call our gems. You all have skipped your favorite Starbucks drink or, you know, treat in lieu of raising $700 over the last month. So Allison is going to drop a gem donation link. If you can become a monthly donor, know that your support is going to help us as we gear up to campaign for the Accord, but also so that we can get this report in the hands of educators, in the hands of lawmakers and investors, because it really is, we have to continue to hold a mirror to the fashion industry. So with that, I'll turn you all to have a wonderful April. Thank you again, Khalid and Zulfiqar, and I'll see you all same time, same place next month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Speak soon. Take care. Bye-bye.